Hello everybody, if it's your first time with us today, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Today we're continuing our series on tactics, and what we're going to be looking at are back rank threats. So what is a back rank threat, and how can we utilize that to put the squeeze on our opponent, make some big gains, and win ourselves some chess games? Now, our first position we're going to be looking at, we've got the black pieces playing against white, and there's a big back rank threat already in the position, checkmate in 2. First question I'm going to ask is, well, what is a back rank threat? Well, when we're talking about back rank threats, we're talking about threats against the opponent's king. Why is it called a back rank threat? Well, the idea is that if you look at white's king here, he's on the first file, so he's on the edge of the board. So the back rank threat is going to occur when the king is on the edge of the board and he doesn't have the ability to move forward. So for example, the squares in front of the king are either blocked by his own pieces or under attack from enemy pieces. So the king can't move forward off of the first rank to the second rank, and because of that, there are some damage that can be dealt on that first rank. If we can plop a rook down there, well, the king will have nowhere to run. So what's the finishing blow here? How can black deliver checkmate in 2? Go ahead, pause the video if you need a second to look at it. And here's what we've got. Black is going to play the devastating move, rook to e1 check, and that's going to be all she wrote. The rook is attacking on the back. After white captures the rook, black simply takes it back, and that is checkmate. That's all she wrote. So looking for ways to trap that opponent's king on the back. That way, we can deliver a really devastating attack. Let's go ahead and look at our next position. Alright, now we've got the white pieces on our next board here, and black is really putting us under some pressure. There's a lot of attack going on. He has these doubled rooks. He's attacking both our queen and our bishop on a2, and his queen is attacking this g2 square, so it looks like maybe if we move our queen too far away, he could give us some checkmate, right? That could be an issue for us to look at. However, once again, white has a way to punch on through. We see that black's king is stuck behind those pawns a little bit. How can we take advantage of this and deliver the finishing blow? Checkmate in 3 moves here for the white pieces. Pause the video again if you need a second to think about it. And here we go, that big move coming up on deck. Queen takes f7. So sometimes, in order to get that back rank breakthrough, we've got to punch through ourselves, make a big capture. Takes on f7 check, only move, king to h8. And how do we finish it? Well, a nice, lovely little sacrifice here. Same idea as before. Queen to f8 check. Rook takes f8, only move, and then, oh no, rook takes f8, checkmate. And that's all she wrote. Happy days for white. Well, sometimes back rank threats can occur in an endgame as well. It's not all about that middle game. It's not always about checkmate. There are some other things that we can do to win some pieces. Here's a game of rook versus knight, a nice little endgame that's going on here. We see the kings are facing off in opposition, so white cannot move forward once again. He's stuck on that back rank. How can black take advantage of this? White does have a nice little defensive knight that's going to try to help him out, but how can black take advantage of this in order to win the game? What's the sequence of moves here in order for black to snatch that last piece up so he can go on to win a rook and king endgame? Well, we're going to start with giving that check on the back rank. Rook to e1 check. White only has one move, knight to d1, which is also check, so now we're under attack. And the key is, where are we going to move our king here? How do we get out of the check? Well, of course, we don't want to take the knight. If rook takes knight, king takes knight would be a draw. But how can we stop white from moving to a square we want? Critical move, king to d3. Now once again, the black king is stopping the white king from coming to a square which will defend the knight, And white has to go to one of two places, either b1 or b2. If king to b2, then rook takes knight. Why does white have to move the king? Well, this knight is pinned, right? So that rook is on e1, holding the knight in place, and after the king moves, then we snatch ourselves a free knight, and black is on his way to victory. Another fun one on deck here, another checkmate pattern that we've got. Black pieces are who we're playing with this time, and checkmate in 3 moves in this position. This is a fun one to look at. Go ahead and pause the video, give it a second if you can't see it already. Take a minute, think about it. There's a lot happening here. And what's going on? Well, white has a pin on this little rook here. Looks like maybe there's some nice things going on for him. He's putting some pressure on d6. But the devastating thing right now is this bishop. Sneaky little bishop on a8, putting pressure all along the diagonal. So once again, where can white's king go? He can't come to any of these squares. It's a back rank issue. So how's black gonna punch on through, break on through, and deliver the final blow? Queen to h2 check, a queen sacrifice, and now we're in business, we're rocking and rolling. King takes h2, only move, and the finishing touch, rook h8, checking along the h rank, only one square that he can come to, back to the first. And now those back ranks are looking pretty dangerous, nowhere he can come, and the bishop guards the h1 square, so our finishing move, rook h1 checkmate, and that's all she wrote. One final position we're going to look at here today. We've looked at some nice checkmates, we've looked at some good back rank threats for our last one. This position is going to be more about setting that threat up. We've got the white pieces now. Material looks about even in this position. We each have 5 pawns. Black has a knight and bishop and 2 rooks against the 2 knights and 2 rooks of white. And how can we set up a back rank threat? What's the nice move here? How can we win some material for white in order to ensure that we can get the win? Go ahead, take a minute to think about it here. Think about what we've talking about, keeping that king on the edge. How can we make sure that we've given ourselves a nice attack here? So with the white pieces, we've got 2 ways we could keep that king on the back rank, right? Right now, he could come to either f7 or h7. So we want to put a knight here on g5. However, we've got to choose. Which knight are we going to put on g5? Are we going to put the f knight on g5? Or are we going to put the e knight on g5? Well, we want to put the e knight on g5, knight e to g5. The reason being, let's open up these rooks so we can create an attack. What's our threat here? Well, the threat is very simple. We want to play the move rook to e8, and that would be checkmate. We've got that back rank all blocked off, and now black has to figure out a way to defend. So let's talk through his defenses here quick. Well, the first idea would simply be to take the knight. That gets rid of the back rank problem. If we do that, however, our own knight can snatch up the bishop, and look at that, it's renewed. Black is still under attack on this e8 square. He has a couple ways. He could either play knight f6, or he could play the move rook to e8 to try to guard that square. Either way is not going to work, though, because we've got these doubled rooks. So after rook takes, knight takes, and rook takes, that would be checkmate. And the same would happen if black plays his rook to d8. Rook takes, and rook takes for checkmate. So none of those are going to work for us here. The only way that black can stop this checkmate is that he's going to have to give back some material. So he does have a way to stop the checkmate here. What's the one move that black can play here? Well, only move he can go in this situation is going to be rook to f7. And now if we play our rook to the back rank, he has the ability to play his own rook back. He can play that move rook to f8. and then it's not going to be checkmate. But this rook is now under attack from the knight. We can simply snatch it up. Knight takes rook, king takes rook, and we should go on to win in a nice endgame. We can still deliver checks along this file, snatch up these weak pawns of black, and white's going to go on for a very nice win from here. Were there any other defensive ideas for black besides taking the knight with the bishop? Well, after knight g5, the only other way he can defend here is going to be to block. So the rook comes in on the file here. He could play the move rook to e7, but once again this is going to be losing a piece. Rook takes rook, bishop takes rook, and rook takes bishop. So black has to pick his poison. We're still threatening rook e8, so black has to play knight f6 next. And this just looks terrible. There's all sorts of attack coming. White has moves like knight e6. The other knight can come to g5. So black has to pick their poison, either a losing endgame down the exchange, or give up a piece and fall to a devastating attack. Those are back rank threats. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments section below. I look forward to seeing what ideas you can come up with in your games, keeping that enemy king trapped against the edge of the board, and finding a way to deliver the finishing blow. Best of luck.